I'm gonna try to get through this without crying, y'all. I'm dead ass. Uh, so I'm in the office. I had to step off, man, and step into a more secluded, empty location. But man, so everybody knows by now that the story about the Central Park Five and how all that went down back in 89, 90. I was in high school around then. Was I sophomore, junior? No, I was about a junior, senior in high school when this all went down. So I was old enough to know what was going on. And my dad was quite, and still is, quite militant. So, and he was woke, and he made sure that I knew exactly what was going on, and kept me abreast and cognizant of everything. So I was well aware of the travesty of justice that the entire Central Park Five debacle was when it happened. And again, I was in high school. I was a junior in high school, senior in high school. So I wasn't much older than these kids when they got picked up and railroaded through the system. So it kind of hit home back then. You know what I'm saying? And it made me mad. It made me mad then, even then, because I knew it was wrong. You know what I mean? Even back then. Not to mention, my parents, my dad, he worked in New York. He owned a delivery company in New York City. He would deliver props and supplies and stuff like that to movie, television, theater productions all over the city. And he would take me with him to work all the time. So, I was in the mix. Just long story short, like we were in there. So I was fully aware of it then. But then here comes Ava DuVernay with this Netflix series about the entire incident, right? And let me just say that the way this thing is shot, man, like y'all know that I'm, brand new, fairly nascent with my cinematography, right? Like I'm nowhere near as good as any of the people that I follow that do this. But I'm trying. And anytime nowadays when I look, I've always kind of looked at films and movies and pieces of, digital fiction, from a technical perspective, right? Like, oh, the way this looks is dope. The way this is shot is dope. But it was never as intense as it is now that I'm actually, out there with my DSLR shooting everything, right? So, but I say all that to say that the way she shot this, the way that, her team edited this thing, it like, the way, I think clearly they did it on purpose, but it feels just like a horror film. I can't convey enough how much this series legit feels like a horror film. Like the way it looks, the angles. Okay, so spoiler alert: the boys get convicted of a crime they didn't commit. Right? There's one scene I think it's the end of the second episode, where the little boy who plays Kevin Richardson, right? He's aspiring. One of his goals in life is to become a trumpet player, right? And when the verdicts are read, and the guilty verdict are read, I mean, there's this one shot, where little man is. It's done for dramatic effect, right? Obviously, because he's in a courtroom, so the next shot that you see obviously didn't happen. It was just there for dramatic effect. But he's in the courtroom, they read the verdicts, and the way, like, you see the camera just kind of just hover in front of his face, just like right there. It's just like right in his face, while he's in the courtroom and his head is down and he's crying. And then the very next shot is him sitting in a chair outside with handcuffs on one of his arms, right? And the other end of the handcuff is just kind of like just off. And he has a trumpet in his hand and he's sitting in the chair. And then there's just this slow dolly pan coming back. And then, they use a wide angle anamorphic lens to kind of just give you a full view of it's just beautiful. And it just conveys so much, like, it really pulls at the heartstrings, the way that they filmed this. It's just a master class in cinematography, in my opinion. As an amateur, obviously some of you who are far more versed at this than I am will probably disagree. I don't know. But to my, newbie eyes, I guess, if you want to say, that shit looked amazing. Like, it really, really looked good. Not only did the actors, all of them, everybody in this film, shout out to Niecy Nash, by the way. I ain't seen her in a minute. She's in this and she does a good job. Everybody does a really, really good job. The actors all came with their A game. Everybody, including my stunt double, Blair Underwood. He's in this too. But it's just really, really, really intense. Everybody just does a really good job in terms of acting. Now, having said all that, that fourth episode, boy, where they go into what happened with Corey Clark. So Corey Clark served the most time, and his story is the most fucked up too. He got caught up in all of this because he went down to the station to help his boy. Like, that's literally it. Like, Yusef Salam was getting picked up by the cops, and Corey said, you know what? I'm gonna come with you and make sure you're okay because your mom would kill me otherwise. And he winds up doing 14 years in adult prisons, two of the most dangerous prisons in America at the time. Can you imagine, yo? Can you imagine, like, your boy gets picked up by the cops, right? And you're 15-year-old, 16-year-old kid, and you go to the jail, right? You go to the precinct just to make sure that your boy is good. And you wind up doing 14 years in Rikers, a lot of that in solitary because of it. Man. And then Donald Trump wants to take a full-page ad calling for the death penalty for these people. I don't have it. I used to pretend to have respect for Trump supporters, but I can't anymore. Like, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you support Trump, you can eat a dick at this point. Like, seriously. Because he still maintains that they're guilty, right? Even after DNA evidence has exonerated them. DNA, like, they didn't do the shit. The dude who did do it confessed, right? And on top of that, DNA evidence has cleared them. And this fuckboy in the White House still thinks they're guilty. So if you're still a supporter of this dude, then fuck you. Like, you can eat a dick, especially if you're black. Like, if you're black, then you deserve to be clowned to the point of suicide if you're still a fan of this dude. And I mean that shit. Like, you're better off not procreating. Seriously. And your family line should probably end right where you are. Like, legit. Like, I'm not pulling no punches with this. Like, fuck you. Fuck anybody who supports this dude still. Like, that's just what it is. So anyway, enough about that. Honestly, I said it in another group. I'm in a few horror movie groups. And I had posted about this in, a couple of them. Because, again, not only from a thematic perspective, but also from a visual perspective, from the way that this thing was shot and everything, screams horror movie. It's just, the look of it and everything is just super, super horror movie. So, and in those horror movie groups, right, I had mentioned how, and some of y'all know how I am with my horror movies. I love me some fucking horror movies, particularly the ones that are a little bit more transgressive than, others, right? Like things like Salo, the August Underground series, a Serbian film, Megan is Missing, atrocious, really fucked up shit. Like, to me, a horror movie is supposed to be horrible. Like, you're supposed to watch a horror movie and be like, yo, what the... Like, to me, that's what a horror movie is supposed to be. Not this corny ass Insidious and The Conjuring, and this shit is tame. You know what I mean? I shouldn't say horrible. They're entertaining. Don't get me wrong. They're very entertaining films, and pieces of fiction. Like, but The Nun that shit ain't scary. Like, come on, man. But I say all that to say that this series, When They See Us, man, the fourth episode, man. When I tell you that shit fucked me up, like, it really fucked me up. And I had already known, again, because my parents had kept me abreast of what was going on at the time, you know what I mean? So I was kind of cognizant of what was happening. But this particular dramatization of it, shit broke me, yo. Like, I'm getting a little teary-eyed even thinking about it right now because, as a father, you know what I'm saying, of a little boy. Like, I don't even know what I would do if that was my son. Like, and to think that, you know what I mean? Like, we still have that going on today. Like, right now, there's somebody in jail. Right now, in prison. Right now, that doesn't belong there because of the same type of shit that happened to him. Somebody's son, somebody's daughter, you know what I mean, is in jail right now, in prison right now, because of, the injustice of the American legal system. You know what I mean? There's entire, the Innocence Project. They ain't out of business. You know what I mean? They have plenty of work. You know what I'm saying? Google that, the Innocence Project. They have plenty of work. You know what I mean? And it's a shame that they do. You know what I mean? And it's like that fourth episode, man. Like, it's really hard, man. Like, it's really tough. You know what I mean? I think about what James Baldwin said in terms of thanks for the share, Al. I think about what James Baldwin said, right? Like, I always point to his quote about how to be a Negro. I'm paraphrasing, right? But to be a Negro in America and to be relatively conscious is to be in a rage all the time. You know what I'm saying? And, shit like this, man, like, honestly, I think, to be honest with you, obviously black people, like all my fellow people of color, y'all should definitely watch it, right? For sure, for sure. But in my opinion, I think white people need to watch this more than anybody else. Because some of y'all, not all of y'all, thank God, most of y'all are like, y'all have a clue and y'all understand, you know what I mean? But some of y'all motherfuckers, y'all need to see this shit and realize that even though it's a dramatization, it really happened. Like, it happened. Like, this is not a fictional account. It's a dramatization of a real life event. You know what I'm saying? They legit rounded up people's little sons, like babies practically, 14, 15, 16. I have a 16-year-old daughter right now. You know what I'm saying? They rounded them up, essentially beat them and starved them for an entire day and enforced confessions out of them that didn't even match. You know what I'm saying? And threw them in jail for between, I think, 6 and 14 years. Some of them did 6 years. Some of them did, I think, 4 years. Actually, 4 to 16 years or something like that. Somewhere between 4 years and 16 years. I could be off a few years. But shit, even 24 hours in jail is an injustice because of that, right? Can you imagine, yo? They took your son away from you on some bullshit and then had him locked up for 15 years, yo. Children. And my man Kev Turner, he had commented in one of the statuses that I had posted about this. He was like, when white people be like, oh, get over it, like that shit puts him in a rage. I see why. Because like the shit's still happening. There's still Corey Clarks out there. Corey Clarks. There's still Kevin Richardsons out there. There's still Yusef Salams out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, Google the Innocence Project. Like, there's motherfuckers on death row that's been in there for decades. You know what I'm saying? That don't belong there. Like, it's really hard to watch, man. That. And again, for someone who has seen, a Serbian film, right? Which is probably one of the most disturbing things that has ever been filmed, ever. Like, I got through that. That shit didn't break me. The ending fucked me up, don't get me wrong, because it's really it's a crazy ending. Like, the ending to that film is probably one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen, ever, right? All those other transgressive horror movies I named, like Salo and Megan is Missing and stuff like that. I got through all of those. I sat through all of those, with popcorn and, they disturbed me, they horrified me, but I got through them. I had to shut this shit off halfway through, bro. Like, I legit had to shut it off. Like, after that one scene that I'd mentioned before about the, Kevin Richardson, the actor that played him, sitting in a chair with the handcuff and the trumpet. And I just thought about my son. And I was like, damn, like, that could have been him. You know what I'm saying? Easily. That could have been one of your sons, black people. Easily. Still can be. In 2019. Still. That shit was tough. I had to shut it off after that, man. I had to shut it off, play some Tekken, because I was mad as shit. I had to play some Tekken and, rise up a few ranks. I was slaying fools. I was fueled by rage. You know what I mean? Played a little bit of Tekken. Had some Assassin's Creed Odyssey as a palate cleanser, like. And then I came back to it. Like, I had to take a break, Like, a fucking Serbian film didn't break me like this shit did. Because, like, it was so intense. Like, the way they filmed it. Again, I keep going back to that. Like, the way they filmed this was just expert, masterclass. Definitely designed to pull at the heartstrings. And then coupled with the fact that it's real, right? Like, it really actually happened. Like, for real. Man. And every time I think about that fourth episode, with the way that they had, what's the name, in jail, and the way that they were doing him, shout out to all my peoples that's in jail or in prison that don't belong there, man. Like, wow. And so one of the things I think that we as a people, right, can do is obviously help, fund unfortunately, very necessary things like the Innocence Project. If you can donate some time, some energy, some effort, then by all means do so. Another thing that you can do is, help educate children, right, about some of the pitfalls and the traps that are set up in place for them to fail in such a manner, right? Empower our youth to do, better things with their time, with their knowledge, with their energy. One of the things that I just, hopefully I'll be starting soon, is helping out with a project that helps teach children how to code. It teaches youth how to code, and it does it in a way that involves music and very entertaining methods, right? Because one of the best ways to free oneself from oppression is to be empowered enough, and I hate to say it, but have enough money to in case something like this happens to you, hire a decent lawyer or get proper legal representation. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times our people, we come from the ghetto, we come from the hood, we ain't got bread like that. You know what I mean? A lot of us don't. So, we aren't able to protect ourselves. We aren't able to defend ourselves. We aren't able to, have people protect us and defend us in the same ways that folks with, the means to hire, a really good, irascible Jewish lawyer would. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. So, helping out in that way is one of the ways that we can do it. There are a number of things that we can do. You know what I'm saying? I think, what we need to do as a people, again, is start focusing on solutions to problems like this, right? Like the Innocence Project. I can't say it enough. The Innocence Project. Google the Innocence Project. Find out if you can, help out somehow, start a chapter or, donate some time if you don't have money. You know what I'm saying? There's all kinds of things that we can do. I can't really think of any of them right now besides the ones that I've articulated because I'm just so, I'm kind of choked up about this. You know what I'm saying? Because, I'm a father, I have children, and that could have been any one of my kids, yo. It could have been any one of my kids. And it still can be in 2019. Shit's crazy, yo. But that's what we dealing with. You know what I'm saying, Sam? So, anyway, I just wanted to say, I just wanted to go live and let y'all know that, Ava DuVernay's When They See Us is something. Whoo, boy, that shit is something else, man. That is it broke me. That 4th episode broke a nigga, yo. I ain't even lying. Legit broke a nigga. I'm talking about on the floor, y'all. I'm talking about on the floor, oh shit, why they do that boy like that? I ain't gonna lie to you, legit. Y'all saw a few minutes ago, I almost cried twice just now, just even thinking about it. You know what I mean? Got snot in my nose now, sniffing. You know what I mean? That shit. Intense. This is honestly, it's probably the hardest thing to watch that I've ever seen on Netflix. Period. And I'm a Netflix junkie. I love Netflix. I watch a lot of shit on Netflix. It's particularly horror movies. I'm huge on horror. But this right here, man. It's, I don't even know. I'm speechless. I legit don't even know. I don't even know what to say. Just hard to watch, man. It's hard to watch. Even if it was fictional, you know what I'm saying? Even if it was fictional, let's say it was pretend, you know what I mean? And it never happened. Let's just, for shits and giggles, just pretend the Central Park 5 incident, debacle never happened, Even still, it is a very hard watch. Very, very hard to watch. Really hard. But then coupled with the knowledge of the fact that it was real makes it almost unbearable. Almost, honestly. Oh, well, I shouldn't even say almost, A nigga had to turn it off after the second episode. Like it wasn't no almost unbearable. I couldn't even watch it. Like I couldn't go on after the second episode. Like I legit could not go on. This is from a dude who loves a Serbian film. A Serbian film. A movie that has a baby rape scene in it. A newborn baby rape scene in it. Like even that shit didn't fuck me up like this movie did, yo. Like this series did. Particularly that fourth episode. Oh, man. I ain't gonna front. That dude, Corey, he's a Superman. Like, that nigga's a Superman. Like, when you see what he went through, and the fact that he didn't straight up just off himself in the cell, I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Ain't nobody stronger than that nigga, yo. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody stronger than him, in my opinion. Like, I wouldn't have been able to do it. I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you that right now. There's no way. I can't say there's no way. But, I'm pretty sure I would have. Oh, I can't even say I'm pretty sure, to be honest with you. I don't even know. I don't even know if I would have had the strength to go through what he went through and come out on the other end. You know what I mean? And I guarantee you, it's pretty obvious. Like, they clearly didn't come out on the other end the same way they went in, right? Obviously, they went in as children and came out as grown-ups. So there you go. Let me go through these comments real quick. What up, Angel? Yo, let's shoot, man. I wanted to connect with you about, I don't know if you saw the footage that I posted about the concert that we had at Jazz Lounge with Digga, Piff, Smith & Wesson, Rome, and Animal Crackers and everybody. But it's up. You check my YouTube channel, it's up there. Some of it is kind of blown out. I'm still learning, but it's up there. You can check it out. Let me know what you think, obviously. You're one of the people that I had mentioned before that's way better at this than I am. So I would love to get your feedback on what you thought, the footage looked like. So, what's up? Yeah, Sally, Sister Sally, it's scary. It's really scary. Like, it's for real scary, because this is real shit. This is real life. Like, that shit really happened. It really, really happened. So it's pretty scary. Shout out Benny. What's up, Benny? Respect, peace, king. Right, Kwame. That's right, brother Kwame. You're right. Like, the orange man in the White House still thinks that those 5 black men are guilty of raping this white woman, even though DNA evidence has long since exonerated them, and the actual rapist confessed to the crime. You know what I'm saying? This is the guy who we have in the White House as the president. Think about that for a second. The nigga in the White House right now maintains that the Central Park 5 are still guilty, even after DNA evidence has exonerated them. If you're a Trump supporter, fuck you. Fuck you. I have no respect for you. None whatsoever. None. Like, we can't even hang out no more. Like, that's on the application for hanging out right now. Are you a Trump supporter? Check yes or no. If you check yes, then you out of here. Like, fuck out of here. Yeah. Oh, you in court right now, Kwam? Oh, man, I hope it goes well for you, bro. Like, keep your head up. I don't know what you in there for, but clearly, it's probably some corporate shit, like, but... Kim Kardashian, yeah, Marcia. That's right, brother Marcia. Like, and here's the stunner. This is the stunner. Kim Kardashian is doing, some things to try and free a few innocent people, right? And but so is Donald Trump. That's the stunner. The stunner is, on the one hand, he's like, oh, these innocent black men are actually guilty of a crime that they're innocent of, right? But then on the other hand, he's going to be like, well, let's free some innocent black people. And then his supporters and his sycophants, wool. The wool just been like, You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right. You're right, Brother Marcia. The system is not for the people. It really isn't. It really isn't. Not for our people, anyway. Justice has never been about justice. It's more so about just us. So, anyway, let's see. Yeah, Sister Terry, they interviewed them initially without their parents present, right? An illegal act. It's legit illegal to do what they did. This is why that one the DA, who again, just like Trump, still maintains that they're guilty, ought to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Like she really should, because that was illegal. That was an illegal act. Yo, brother, yo. Let's not even talk about Mumia, like free Mumia. Like, I mean, that's another, miscarriage of justice, right? You know what I mean? Like, the whole thing with Mumia, like, he should have been out of jail by now. He should have been out of jail long time ago. He's on death row. He's been on death row for a long time. I've forgotten. I've lost count of how many years he's been on death row, right? And he shouldn't be there. Like, that's not where he should be at all. Again, gross miscarriage of justice. So, let's see. Yeah. Even at 32 and 34, Sister Terry, they could still get picked up and locked up on some bullshit. Just like that. Like, it can happen. It can happen to me. I'm 45 years old. I got gray hair, which needs to be cut. You know what I'm saying? Beard. Like, they could pick me up at any time and just say some bullshit and I'll be in there. Like, and that's scary. That's really fucking scary. So, let's see. Yes, gotta educate your children about these things to keep them safe. That's right, Kwame. You're right. You ain't lying. Yeah, brother Ali. That's right. You're right, man. He says one of the biggest ways we can stop stuff like this is by opening our groups to include more people of different races and ethnic backgrounds. I mean, yeah, I don't really see fault in that logic. Like, it reminds me of a joke that I saw on this one comedy special on Netflix. I forget who it was. It was somebody who was joking about how one of the best ways to end racism and injustice is to just make friends with people who wouldn't normally be in your wheelhouse or in your circle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he was saying it in a comically sardonic way, but and I don't remember exactly what the joke was, but it was pretty funny, and it kind of echoes the sentiment that you just said. So, yeah. Yeah, but yeah, definitely, it's sad that it's necessary. It's really, really, really bad. Yeah, and you're right. You're right, Ali, for sure. That's right. Part of the reason, like, they can't relate. Like, these people don't see us as humans. Like, they legit don't see us as humans. Like, look at what's happening at Sephora. Like, with SZA, right? Like, SZA, she went into there and was subject to some sort of racism. So now they're closing all 400 Sephora locations, I think, or something like that. And, for sensitivity training. Like, how the fuck do you need training to learn how to teach black people like people? What? What? You need training on how to show black people respect and humanity? That's where we are. Think about that, y'all. In 2019, motherfuckers need training on how to treat black people like people in 2019. That's where we at. Yo, Sister Terry, don't even go there with Khalif, man. Yo, with the way they did him too, and he killed himself. Like, the stress was just too much for him. He killed himself. Again, a child who was rounded up by the New York City Police Department and accused of a crime he didn't commit, sent away to Rikers Island, subject to all kinds of abuse, at the hands of people who were there that were supposed to be protecting him. Like, for years, they had him in solitary confinement. You know what I'm saying? Like, a kid, a child, a black child. Sometimes and I hate to say this, but sometimes I think like these motherfuckers ain't gonna respect shit until we start shooting back. Like, like legit, how many years is this now? How many centuries is this now already? And motherfuckers want to pray about it and kumbaya and oh, dear Lord, dear. Prayer don't fucking work. Like, get out of here with this shit. Like, that shit don't work. Like, this religion done turn y'all into docile motherfuckers. Like, nah. Arm yourselves. Register your weapons. Get you some firearms. Seriously, that's where we at now. That's where it's at. Like, we can't be out here, on some, oh, maybe they'll change their ways one day, like, nah. They ain't finna change. It's been 300 plus years and they still doing this to us. Still. I hate to say it, but some of them gonna have to die before, you know what I'm saying? Like, what else does it take? I don't know. I don't even know. Let's see. Oh, there's a lot of comments here. Yeah, you're right, Kwam. Malcolm X would definitely question some of the psychology going on. You're right. That's true. Yeah. And yeah, you're right, Terry. They couldn't, like, legit, the stories didn't match, right? Like, these kids, they forced confessions out of them illegally. And not only did they force these confessions out of these children illegally, the confessions didn't line up with the reality. They didn't match, right? And they still put them in jail for multiple years. They had no DNA evidence. Like, and Orange Hitler in the White House still thinks they're guilty. If you're a Trump supporter, you could suck my dick. Like, you really could. If you're a Trump supporter at this point, like, you could eat a dick. Fuck you. Brother Sammy, you ain't lying. There are way too many people in jail that don't belong there. Of all nationalities and races. Like, way too many people. Way too many. Yo, the United States locks up more people than every other country in the world combined. How many countries are there in the world right now recognized? What's the newest one? South Sudan is the newest one, I think. What are we at? Like 160 something? My math might be off on that. I think it might be like somewhere between 150 or 160. Let's say let's just be generous and say that there's 150 other countries. I know that's off. I know there's a little bit more than that. But let's just say there's 150 other recognized countries on the planet, right? Societies that we would call, a legitimate country with a government and stuff like that. We're not necessarily saying that the government itself is legitimate in the sense that, we have a lot of regimes out there and stuff like that. But let's just say, 150 countries, right? The United States locks up more people, right? Mostly black. But, there are other nationalities and races in there. Although race is a made-up term, whatever. But we lock up more people here in America, again, mostly black, than any other country on earth. More than all the other countries on earth combined. We lock up more motherfuckers here in America, this country with 300 million plus people, than the rest of the 7,700,000,000 people that exist. Like, what? I don't think y'all heard me. America, right? Let's say we have 400 million people in America. It's a little bit over 300 million. Let's say there's 400 million. Let's Let's be generous. Again, I'm being generous here. 400 million people in America, let's just say, right? Right now, the world population is estimated to be about 7 billion, right? 7 billion people. And America is only 400 million of that. We lock up more motherfuckers between us 400 million people than the rest of the 7 billion 600 million people on the planet. And most of them is black. Most of those people who are locked up are black or brown or people of color, basically. Most of them. Like James Baldwin said, man, to be a Negro in America and be halfway conscious is to always be in a rage. Always be in a rage. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Brother Jamal, you know they ain't finna do that, man. You know they don't want to talk about what really happened. You know it, because you're absolutely right. That is one of the fastest ways to end this thing, right? Is to recognize the origins of the problem. And that's not in the best interest of this particular country. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't want that, right? It's easier for the seeds of division to be sowed than the seeds of, harmony, right? So that's one of the reasons why we ain't never finna do that. You know what I'm saying? We can do it amongst ourselves, obviously, right? And we can educate our people. We can educate our youth. We can keep our youth aware and abreast and cognizant of some of the issues and the traps and all of that kind of stuff. But America as a whole ain't ready for that shit. Shame. How long have we been a country? 300 plus years, and we still struggling with this shit? Niggas ain't finna do that shit, yo. They ain't finna do it. Yeah, brother Jason. After that second episode, I had to shut it off. Like, I had to turn the Xbox off. I was like, you know what? I walked up to the television because my Xbox is under the TV. I didn't even, like, you know how you can do the same thing with PlayStation, I think, but you can turn off your console by, holding the guide button on the controller. I had to get up and legit walk to the console and press the button, the capacitive button. I was like, I turned it off. Like, I just turned my Xbox off. I was like, nope, you're not finna do this to me, Netflix. You're not finna make me cry. And sure enough, I turned it back on. Like, a few minutes later, I drank some water and paced a little bit. And then turned the Xbox back on. And I legit played Tekken for a little while. Like, I played Tekken 7 for a good hour and some change, just trying to just calm down and just, like, decompress, I guess, if you will. And then I went right back into it. And then, the third and fourth episodes I watched, just back to back. And that fourth episode, man, that's the one that did me. That's the one that did me. And you're right, Sammy, it's all about making a profit. I remember seeing this one video. I can't remember the brother's name, but it's fairly old. And it's about, it kind of speaks to what I was saying before about educating our youth, right? Like, he's having a conversation with a bunch of people, and he's informing them about, prison codes and, some of the slave laws that, were in place, that were put in place once slaves were freed, right? Like, some of the vagrancy laws and some things like that. At one point in America, it was illegal for black people to read. Like, we couldn't, like, it was against the law for us to educate ourselves. Legit, like, it was legitimately against the law for black people to know how to read. And one of the ways that they would trick us is, if you were a freed slave, right? And they caught you on the street or something like that, they would make you sign some sort of paperwork that, outline, specific, rights and instances and things like that. And if you read it, that means you were breaking the law, and then they locked your ass right back up. You know what I'm saying? The whole gerrymandering thing, you know what I'm saying? With how certain prisons are structured and put in certain areas to increase the sort of, you know, weight of voting in that particular area. You know, the whole electoral college thing and stuff like that. You know, and a lot of times, you know, it's a profitable business. It really is. The whole prison industrial complex, there's a lot of money involved in it. A lot of money involved in it. And the Clintons got some bread stuck in there too. Don't get it twisted. Just because I can't stand Donald Trump doesn't mean I like Hillary Clinton. Trust. I ain't no liberal. You can bet your sweet bottom ass I ain't no liberal. I'm definitely not a conservative neither. You know what I mean? So, what else? I got to get back to work, but yeah, Sammy, no tears today, Netflix, and fuck you. I'm telling you, man, that shit had me fucked up. That shit had me fucked up, yo. That second episode, and again, I knew what was going on. I knew what was going to happen. There's, you know, spoiler alert. There's no spoilers. I knew what was going on. I was a teenager when it was happening, like as it was actually happening. I remember the whole thing clear as day. You know what I mean? I was well aware. I saw the full-page ad that Donald Trump took out, calling for these boys to be executed in the death penalty. I saw all that shit, real time, as it happened. Even still, watching this thing, man, it just broke me. It really did. It's very, very tough. Nikita, Sister Nikita, yo, I'm telling you, go ahead, push on through, sis. Push on through. I'm telling you, it's well worth a watch. It's hard. It's very hard to watch. But I think it's worth it. I personally think it's worth watching. And again, you know, this is coming from a dude who loves horror movies and the more extreme type of horror movies too. I'm talking about like super transgressive shit. You know what I mean? Things that you'll never find in any theater. You know what I'm saying? Things that you gotta go to real seedy ass websites to find. Like you might not even find a copy except for on eBay or something. Like, you know what I mean? Things like a Serbian film. Like, you know, even that movie with its newborn rape scene didn't fuck me up like this thing did. Like legit. Your man's was on the floor just watching it like, the fuck, man? Why they do that, boy? Like the fuck? Like, legit. Straight up and down. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm not too proud to say that, you know, I wasn't like that. You know what I mean? So, anyway. Yeah, yo, and that's the thing too, brother Jason. Like, yo, peep this. The city, right, gave them $41 million to split between the five of them, you know, in a settlement. And Donald Trump had the nerve to call it a disgrace. What? What? Yo, these boys, when I tell, oh, you did watch it, Sister Nikita. Okay, good. I'm glad you watched it all the way through. Good. But yo, bro, Jason, like these boys were legit innocent of the crime. Like DNA evidence exonerated them. The real assailant confessed. You know, none of the DNA matched. None of their confessions matched. They were illegally coerced. You know, everything was as plain as day. Off with this thing. You know what I'm saying? With the whole shit. And we knew back then, even me as a little, you know, what was I, like 16, 17 at the time? Even then I knew that it was off. And I was a kid then. How much more grown up like Donald Trump, right? And then once the city gave them what most people would consider a pittance, but at least they gave them something, right? You know, whatever. Even then, this orange fuckboy thought it was, you know, disgraceful for the city to do that. What? And he's the president now. This is why I was saying before, Ali Jamal, like, America ain't ready for you know what I'm saying? They elected this motherfucker. They elected this dude. This is the dude who they elected. They elected the guy who called the rightful compensation, though it was a pittance, of 5, you know, innocent black people a disgrace. And as late or early, whatever, as 2016, while he was campaigning to become president, he still maintained that they were guilty. Still. That's why if you're a Trump supporter and you watching this, you could suck my entire stereotypically African dick. You really could. Anyway, I'm out. I gotta go back to work. Got a lot of shit to do. I just had to get this off my chest and let y'all know. Go watch When They See Us. Go watch When They See Us. Watch it all the way through. It is very, very powerful. You know, brothers and sisters, my fellow black people, definitely watch it. My white people, my white brothers and sisters, y'all are my cousins. Y'all gotta go watch this shit far more than we do. Like, y'all really need to see this. Like, more so than us, in my opinion. Y'all need to watch this shit. Cause you gotta see, like, again, even though it's a dramatization, it really happened. And when we bitch and moan about the injustice of the, you know, the criminal system, the quote unquote justice system, when we talk about it and we disparage some of the unfairness, this is the type of shit we're talking about. This is not an isolated incident. This is not an isolated case. This happens all the time. It's probably happening right now somewhere in America, right now. Anyway, so like I always do at the end of these videos, love yourselves, love each other. If you're gonna love each other, send the footage to info@afateanum.com.